Martha.
What a beautiful, sunny, wonderful summer day. Summer has come.
Yes.
Yes.
Aren't we glad about that?
Yes.
Well, as I see, we have a lot of people here today, and so we want to move on. And I don't know everybody, but for you people who are new today, I am Martha. And you probably know me because my brother was Lazarus in the Bible. And I just love doing this, and my favorite singer of all time is Elvis. So that's why we play Elvis every time before we have our time to meet with you. And I hope you don't mind, but I just love Elvis, and it's just so cool to be able to hear his singing of how these wonderful, wonderful gospel songs. So thank you for being here and letting me enjoy them. And we're going to let you introduce yourselves around the room, and we'd like to start with Darcy.
Well, hi, I'm Darcy.
Hi, Darcy. We're so glad you're here today. Thank you for helping us out.
And I'm Mac, Martha.
Oh, Mac, I know that you made a great sacrifice today, and I want you to know that I hope you feel it was well worth it, because Marilyn feels very safe when you're here.
That's why I'm here.
Thank you very much.
I'm Judy.
Well, Judy, you're a person I haven't had the opportunity to meet before, and I'm glad to welcome you.
Thank you.
And keep coming back.
Okay.
And our next person?
I'm Steve.
I haven't met you before, Steve. I'm glad you came.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Well, I'm so glad you came, and we're glad you're here too.
Good choice of songs. This is Nancy.
Well, Nancy, thank you. That song was picked for a reason, and we'll tell you more about it, so stay tuned.
I'm Ginger.
Hi, Ginger. How you doing?
Fine.
Good to see you. I'm glad you're here today.
I am too.
And thanks for coming.
I'm Vivian.
Hi, Vivian. Glad you're here.
Thank you.
And I hope you're having a good day.
I am.
Well, enjoy the sun while you can.
Thank you.
And who else?
I'm Wayland.
Waylon, I haven't met you before.
No, that's the first time.
Well, I'm so glad you came, and I hope that you have a good time today.
Great.
And thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to have John come in, and he'll be here in just a minute.
Thank you.
Thank you, Martha.
Thank you, Martha.
Thank you, everybody. Toodaloo.
Good.
Bye.
Good afternoon.
Good
afternoon,
John.
I am John, and I am glad to be here this afternoon.
I'm glad you're here.
Thank you for having me, and I'm so glad we have such a lovely room of people. And I did happen to hear your introductions, and I want to welcome the new people today, and so glad, Judy, to meet you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Steve. I'm glad to meet you.
And me, you.
Well, I'm glad you're here. And Waylon, thank you for coming today.
Thank you. Me too.
And the others are friends that have been here very often and for various reasons, and so we welcome all of you, and glad you're all here this afternoon, and hope we can help you out. So if you did come with a concern or a question, I think we'll just, whoever would like to be first and speak up, maybe as we're talking and sharing, it might bring a little spark of, oh yes, that's what I was thinking about to you. And so who would like to share and maybe be our first person today looking for some answers?
I'll go first.
Oh, thank you, Darcy.
I was thinking on the way here that I've noticed the last few weeks, well, it's been happening over the last few months, but it's been so sporadic I didn't think about it. But in last Monday's development class, I noticed my vision was changing drastically, and I'm having all these things going on with my sight. And I'm wondering, I think maybe I need to go have something checked out.
Well, that's a very good question that everybody can benefit from. Yes, everybody's vision is changing. You are very in tune and practicing and working in very difficult ways to bring your energy into higher vibrations, and that's what is causing your vision changing. As you see, it's a manifestation of your spiritual consciousness. Have you been having bad effects, or is it just moving into a different way to see things?
Well, it's been, the only way I can describe it is like a zebra, almost like a zebra pattern, that black and white that is going around the outer fringe of my sight, and then it stays for a while and then it goes away. And sometimes when I open my eyes, instead of seeing colors, I'm seeing like the speckly gray that you get on television once in a while.
Well, you could say that this is all different manifestations of the vibrational changes that you are assimilating in your body. As those vibrations alter and move and increase and raise, those are manifestations. I will say that in a matter of time they will tend to simmer down, you might say, or come more into focus for you in a way that's more stable. And your glasses may need changed because of it, because you see with your spiritual vision improving, you might not need as strong a glasses. In most cases, people's eyes do not strengthen because doctors have been taught that eyes will decrease in visual acuity over years, which is not necessarily true if you're spiritually growing. In your case, it's going the other way. You might notice that at times you can go without your glasses because your eyes are going to be coming more into reality, and you won't need to compensate for the distortion of the lack of reality. Okay. And so as you come into a more stable place and you feel things have leveled out and your glasses no longer seem to work for you like they did, you can gradually let your eyes move into being in a normal range. But if it would be more comfortable with driving, that's usually one of the last times of eyes changing is the farthest distance. Usually takes a little longer. As you gain more spiritual distance in your growth, that will eventually work its way out also. But in that meantime, you might need a pair of glasses to bridge the gap, so to speak. So I would just welcome the changes, know that you are moving forward in your spiritual growth, and those rearrangements are not to be detrimental at this point. If things were to go amiss, please let me know, and we can look at it again. But at this point, I just see a lot of healthy changes going on, and that you're picking up on that change as it is readjusting.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
John, I've got a concern.
All right.
I went to church this morning.
Mm-hmm.
We had a nice service. It was an outside chapel, and we interfaced with the youth, the children. But the program that we had, on the back of the program, there was a message that disturbs me.
Mm-hmm.
This message came down. It wasn't the theology of the local church. It came down from the nationals. It probably appeared in all the United Churches of Christ today. And it was about this man who was sitting in church, and he was listening to the pastor, who was telling him to shut off the voices of the world, the concerns of the day, and the troubles, and to enter within, find the silence to hear the voice of God. So he took a few deep breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, preparing to go into a meditative state. And then he thought to himself, why is he doing this? He's never had any success at really getting into the stillness. And why can't he hear the voice of God through others? And this has not been my experience. And I find this disturbing. I wonder if you might just talk about that a little bit, finding the voice of God within.
Well, Mac, I think that's a very good question. people who find it difficult to go within and hear the voice of God, to remove the distractions and the vibrations and the interferences that stop that connection in that higher consciousness, do rely on other people to give them information. And God does speak through other people. In fact, if you remember, God spoke through you to Marilyn in a very valuable way when you told her to quit taking the devil code. So you see, people can receive messages from God through other people sharing, and they don't even realize that's what they're doing, is providing spiritual help in a way the person needed it and would hear it and listen to it, and otherwise not be aware of receiving or getting that information. So one is not right and one is not wrong. Certain ways fit certain situations, and for you to be able to be such a good meditator and so totally in tune and connected is what you might call a wondrous miracle, because you are more connected than most people and would wish all people to do that. And it has been a long progression for you over many, many years, hasn't it?
It has been.
And some people get discouraged with that and give up. Some people keep working at it as you did. And after many, many years, hang in there until finally things kind of come together. So it works differently for everybody. So to hear different ways, to hear God's words, you know, some people can go in the woods and just listen to the sounds of nature. And that can also open up messages that can come through them intuitively. So how people hear God is usually the right and appropriate way for them of where they're at that time. And it's just a matter of how developed a person is spiritually to be able to receive more acutely as you do. I would like to congratulate you on the growth that you've made, and that you are so aware and so on top of that. And I know that others are working to be as successful as you, and that message might hit somebody who didn't otherwise understand that God will provide information through other people. Not always is it taken and used, but the message or information might have just been a planted seed where down the road they'd say, oh, I heard somebody say such and such, maybe I should look at that finally, which they have been putting off and procrastinating. So you never know when those messages are going to happen and when they're going to be received and used. And it's only in their timing that it will come about. And that's the trick, is to know that everybody is in the right place at the right time, and all their messages will come to them as they're open for them. Does that help?
Well, maybe. The thing that concerns me is how would the person distinguish between the multiple voices that he hears from others as to which one is speaking that which would be coming from God, when all he has to do is turn within and has direct contact.
Well, as Saint Germaine is coming in to give some information today of why it's so difficult for some people to do that. And for you it seems very simple and very easy, but the ego has another plan and creates a lot of complexity in people's emotional and psychological lives, and prevents it from being as simple for them because they haven't released the barriers and obstacles yet that are still in place in their mindset. And as people come to understand that all positive is from God and all negative is not of God, they start to learn to sort out if there's somebody being very negative in their life. They're saying, oh, I don't choose to be around that. It's not of God, and I don't choose to be having that message, that information or energy in my life. And gradually, usually people will start to say, it feels better here, or I like to go there because it feels so good. So they start to sort it out as best they can at where they are in life. And so you see, when it becomes very difficult to to feel comfortable and feel at ease, then people start searching, and that's one of the ways they need to have happen for them to start searching. So you don't know where they're at in their development. And another thing you might need to understand, Mac, is you might not see somebody hearing the voice of God working for somebody else, but they might be very advanced from other lives, and this is a lesson in this life that still needs them to realize that our energy is all one, and whatever way it comes, if they're discerning, it just might be another lesson that they're working through in their spiritual growth, and in one lifetime has already achieved what you're talking about, but this is just an advent of what needs to be finished up in this path. So many of you here are sitting in this room are in your last lifetime. If you didn't, you wouldn't be here trying and searching like you are for more answers to finish up those old lifetimes. You know, past lives do seep through and need to be recognized and brought into the love of God in whatever way is important. And so I hear a little bit of judgment possibly, and that's one of the things that Saint Germaine was going to address today. And sometimes judgment can be very subtle, but it's also very damaging, because if you project that out onto others, there's something inside, and he'll explain that better, that needs to be healed. So I would suggest that you love, to look out with the best intentions and the most generous love for all around you, knowing that they are growing just like you are.
Thank you, John. I think that you were reading from my past.
Oh.
I've forgotten how I used to listen to others and have to make up my mind whether it was true or false. Sometimes I need to be reminded. Thank you.
You're so welcome. We have room for more people to ask questions today, that if you brought concern.
John, this is Steve. Can you tell me if I'm on the right path for my foot to be healed from the breakage that I had earlier this year?
Oh, you broke your foot? Did you break bones?
10 millimeters.
Okay.
Somewhere.
What were you doing when you broke your foot?
Cutting firewood. I stepped on a stick that slid on another one and twisted it.
Oh, and so through the twisting and the falling, it broke?
Yes.
Okay, this was to get your attention, wasn't it? It got your attention, didn't it?
It did.
All right. Well, the bones support the body. That's part of your structure. I think what you're being told is that there is a foundation in your living experience that is based on a false belief, and that has been very much a foundation of your life, and it needs to be broken and changed and healed. And so to look in at what have you been still using as an excuse or rationalization, some information that you picked up from your family or old religious places that no longer serve you. You see, in your growing up, we receive many conditioned messages to stay in the tribal superstitions, you might call it, and to look at some of those and say, gosh, just because my parents believed it, or just because I was a little kid and went to Sunday school and they told me it was true, isn't necessarily true, and I maybe need to go and think for myself today about what I am and about and what I want in my life. You see, when it happens in the foot, there is a certain amount of fear of moving forward in your life. Is that true?
I hope not.
Well, I'm glad to hear that response, because you see, it's important that every day you take a step forward if possible. You can't sit on the fence forever. You know, that's called being gullible. You know, believe everything and don't make a decision because you might be wrong. And you just sit there and take in all this information and you don't do anything to change, and it's fear of not maybe being perfect or having the right solution or answer that you think is supposed to be the right and perfect one. So you just sit on the fence. Nobody ever goes backwards. I shouldn't say very, very few ever really choose to go backwards. That is another choice, but basically 99 and 44 100%, you know how Ivory used to be. Go forward in your life, and I know that you're not that little part that is wanting to go backwards. And so it's a matter of fear that you have, and to actually step and move forward in your life. Because what will happen if you change inside, or if you change your environment, or you change your thinking, you change how you see something, there's something that you are very fearful of, and you're afraid to look at it and move forward into it and embrace and realize that it might be a gift for you. You see, every fear has a gift. The sad part is most people build the fear up into a great big boogeyman. And I'm here to tell you that the boogeyman, when you turn the light on of God, disappears. So I'm suggesting that you move forward into the light of God and receive your gifts, which is what we're going to be talking about later today. And get off the fence and realize what isn't still working for you, and to change your thinking about it. Just even a little bit of hope or a little bit of encouragement to yourself that it's, maybe you're not such a bad person. Maybe you are worthy of a little better life. Maybe you do deserve things, and that your emotional insecurity doesn't have to keep you clinging to items that are unnecessary. So if you change some of that thinking and realize that God, and we're going to talk, it's interesting, the questions today go so well with what we want to share with you later, that God is your security, love is your security. That's the only security we have, and in knowing that you can walk forward in the light, your foot will mend, because you are walking into the truth of who you are, and to believe that you're a wonderful person and you don't have to hide in your needing. I feel that there's been some running away rather than coming towards the light. You're afraid to really put your foot out there. And in doing that, some of your behavior is keeping you from moving forward. And to look at that, Steve, and to see what you need to change and rearrange your life so you can move forward into a simple life that is really truly the life that you were meant and created to have. And you deserve that, and that is your real being, and not to deny it any longer. And so the foot accident was just a symptom of a deeper situation that you might need to look at. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
I hope it does. Your foot will heal as you heal your thinking. Do you understand it's all about your mind, and you can change your mind anytime you want?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have a question.
Yes.
A small question.
All right.
Our oldest daughter, Jessica,
Mm-hmm.
she is like my mother to me, even though I am her mother. Is there truth in that? She nannies 13 children, special needs. She's got it, and I don't have the, I might have had the patience years ago, but.
In what way does she mother you?
We can be walking down the street and she'll be on the outside of the sidewalk. She is very, where am I gonna be? She wants to know where I am all the time, you know.
Well, it sounds like you allow that to happen. And so it's maybe time to have some boundaries possibly, and say, you know, I really appreciate your being so concerned about me, and I do want to stay connected and in contact with you, and I know that we care for each other, and I'll be glad to share with you what I'm doing and where I'm going when it works out. Don't worry about me other times. I'm a big girl now. You see, the overly mothering feels like smothering, doesn't it?
Oh,
Maybe in a small way?
maybe in a small way.
All right. And therefore you don't feel like you're truly your own person when that happens. And so it's time to step up and say, I am taking responsibility for my life, and I can think for myself, go where I need to go, and I am not needing to be on a chain any longer, that I will break the chain, and I will take responsibility, and I will make connection when it's, appropriate or necessary. It's nice just to call back and forth and say, gee, I just got to such and such, thought I'd let you know I made it safe. But not to do it from a point of where it's required or it's compulsive that you do that, or that you're considered disconnecting from her because you are. Part of it's her insecurity too, and letting her be responsible for herself means that you're taking responsibility for yourself, and so the two of you need to come into a mutual admiration society.
Okay, thank you.
Does that help?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll ask a question if I'm next.
You surely can, Vivian.
Thank you. I have been puzzling a lot about, I would like to move in 2 years, and I would like to move to a smaller town, and I've been considering all different kind of places. And I know I would like to go to Virginia Beach for a little while to take a class and learn more, learn as much as I can. But I'm confused about where exactly to move to. What place is right for me? Can you help with that, or is that something I have to figure out myself?
Well, I think it's good that you're looking into your options. And what happens is that if you just take the next indicated step forward, as you sort out your options of what feels right to you, what seems comfortable to you, does that, in your meditations, to say, how does this feel inside? Does this feel like a place that would work for me? And the answer will come. And as far as Virginia Beach, that is a wonderful place to go, and who knows, you might even end up staying there. So you don't know yet where you're going to end up, and you're trying to predict it instead of let the energy flow and take you where it's supposed to take you, and just be open to the opportunity as it presents itself. You're trying to set your ducks up in order, aren't you? And say, well, bingo, now, see, today I live here and tomorrow I'll live there, and the next day, and you're trying to set it all up, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
And you know what that's called? Playing God. So you just relax about it and let the answers naturally come to you. You're very uptight about, like you have to have this all in concrete, right? For your future?
Yes.
And maybe God has something in order for you that you haven't even figured out yet, and you'll have it totally blocked from your awareness if you have it so rigidly in order that this is what I'm doing, and you will miss maybe on the real prize.
That's good advice. Thank you.
You are so welcome. Any other concerns today? Well, I'm so glad that people are welcome and feeling open enough to get other viewpoints, another way to consider something, because it's opening up, being honest with ourselves and open-minded to more of God being in your life, and willing to walk forward into that new perception in front of you that you are creating every day, that you are moving forward in spiritual love, and to let, as you move forward, that spiritual love can manifest in wonderful ways. So the more honest you are with yourself of how you're sabotaging and how you're stopping yourself from growing and creating and being that open-minded person to more of God's love for you, the only person you hurt is yourself. And I would like to tell you I'm so pleased you are here on this beautiful day. And thank you for coming. And Saint Germaine has some information that's going to go along with what some of you asked about earlier. I would like to make a couple comments about the song we played as we started today, because it was so important to lead into the coming talk. How great our God is, how great thou art, because God provided a way back home for you. And last time I channeled through Marilyn, she had Jesus come in after me, and Jesus welcomed people home. And we're going to talk more about that today. And so God created your path back home, and some of the things that might be still obstacles to that we're going to discuss. And they talked in the song about Christ consciousness, and that's definitely home. And we'll do more about that for you to understand. These songs can be very, very profound when you listen to what's really behind the words. Words are only symbols of symbols, and when you can really get into the music, you can understand at a much deeper level and connect to that message. And Mac, that's another way people get messages, is through music. So there are lots of ways for God to speak to people. And the one I wanted to say is that music is a wonderful way, if you are having trouble meditating, as Mac was concerned about people meditating, music is the bridge between the finite and the infinite. So if you are listening to beautiful music, such as Beethoven, Brahms, Bach, the classical music, or some of the New Age music is fantastic as far as being connected to the vibrations of higher consciousness. It is extremely helpful to help open up what you need to open up for your higher self to emerge. So music is a wonderful thing to play in your house and help bring the peace that we're all looking for into your inner being. I wish you all a very good day. Have a really wonderful afternoon as you leave today, knowing how much you are loved. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
John. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Saint Germaine,
Good
and I am so glad everybody's here, and I know who you are because of your earlier introductions, and thank you for coming, everybody.
Thank you for coming.
And I have some follow-up to what Jesus was saying last time, and we want to help you to better understand how you can go home. And when he welcomed you home, it was this huge awareness that you can open up and be this wonderful person you were created to be and live in that space which you call home. And there are various things that are still going on as we are in ascension, and we are getting closer to that time and space when you can no longer hang on to the dark, dense, lower energies. And I want to provide some information that might be helpful in releasing some of that today. So as you know, by the end of next year, if you are going to continue in ascension, the dark energy will have been dispelled. The spell of it will be gone, because you cannot sustain yourself in the higher consciousness of God consciousness if there is any dark energy remaining. So we are of the last moments of allowing that old energy to leave from the old messages of false beliefs that you were raised with, of fear that you might have grown up with for various reasons, of emotional insecurity that might be still a problem for you. Many people still have financial insecurity problems that are still raging in their lives. And the lack of self-esteem is a big issue for some people still, because that manifests in various illnesses. So as you come into loving yourself and knowing that's who you are love. And to allow that to happen, you will get well as you release the false beliefs. Belief has the word lie in it, if you haven't noticed that. And so the lies that have been told to you through eons of time because of dark hats wanting to control the masses, you have been led down a primrose path that is not really productive and not really leading you where you want to be. And we are offering you a path that goes into home rather than away from home. You see, as you move away from home and stay in the fears and the false beliefs, the old negative emotions and behaviors, you're running away from reality. And that creates all kinds of illnesses and imbalance in your life and lack of harmony. And yes, the music that Saint John talked about can help bring harmony in your life in a very wonderful way. So that's a wonderful tool for you. So you are wanting to say, how can I move from running away from reality towards reality? You see, the great reality is deep down in every one of you. It has just been covered by calamity. You are already a child of God, but what is interfering? What are the obstacles to that? And one of the big obstacles that is still a problem in our society today is addiction. Addiction is a great way to run away from reality and hide. Hide in looking for ways to feel good and feel secure and to feel that what's missing inside. And addiction just actually leads you further and further away from reality, and it doesn't get any better. It actually brings on more illness. So when you substitute something outside of yourself for the love that's already deep inside of you, you are running away from that love instead of embracing yourself and saying, oh, I have good characteristics. I have some I'm still working on. Doesn't make me a bad person. It just means I'm a work in progress. So you see, you can embrace yourself no matter where you're at in your spiritual growth and say, the more I love myself, the more the addiction will leave. Because my mindset is now on reality, which is love and the light inside. And I will fill myself with that love and light instead of focusing outside of myself for my answers and my survival. So addiction, it doesn't matter if it's alcohol, drugs, prescriptions. It can even be sugar. As simple as sugar is, it can be very addicting. Ask those that are addicted to chocolate or coffee. They can be very addicting. Pop. Shopping. I know of one person who said her spiritual experience was going to Nordstrom's. You see, because being in the status store and buying expensive clothes filled that empty hole inside. And she was using that as a way to compensate for reality. That she looked good and she could feel good because she had these fancy clothes on, and then people would see that she had something going for her. She had such little self-esteem, she had to buy it. So you see, those things can get in the way and block off the real love that you are. And so many times people aren't even aware of addictions. It's very easy to get caught up. I know of a young girl who was texting so much throughout the day. She had lost touch with being able to communicate in her family in a real personable way. It was all technically connected, but not in an emotional way, because she couldn't vulnerably be there. She was too scared to be vulnerable with her parents because of the problems in the family. And her way to hide from that vulnerability was through texting. Now people can hide through vulnerability through a multitude of things. There's a program on television called Hoarding, and that people hide by accumulating and accumulating because they're so afraid of whatever is keeping them in that fear. They just keep doing the things that actually work against them instead of for them. So you see, it's important to understand addictions is a problem, it's a disease, and it is not being honest with yourself of who you truly are. And And when you finally say, yes, I am a child of God, and I choose to move out of running away from God, I choose to move forward in God's love today and heal my disease, heal my discomfort, heal my emotional insecurity, or whatever is the problem that the disease or addiction is covering up, you can move into the light of God. And when you are still in the darkness, you are in an insane mental frame of mind. You don't have to be in a mental institution to be insane. It's a matter of degrees. So the more you lie to yourself, the more insane you are. The more open and honest you are with yourself, the more sane you will be, and you can come out of your old ideas that were the fears and the misbeliefs, or lack of information even, can keep you in fear. It's only a matter of how honest are you going to get with yourself, and to substitute God for the fear. You see, it's only a boogeyman. The fear is the darkness, and it can be dispelled anytime you choose. It is a choice to move out of your insanity, out of your distance from God and the love that is your inheritance and who you truly are. So as you choose to let God fill your life with the love that He has for you and to care for you. Maybe no one cared for you when you were a child, and now you have the opportunity that God will care for you. God will take care of you. God will meet all your needs. This is a big problem with trying to meet your needs today in this society. But if you let God meet your needs, they will be taken care of one way or another. You just don't have to set it out ahead of time, Vivian. You let it happen, okay?
Okay.
So what we're saying is that your needs have already been met when you get out of your negative thinking, out of your fearful emotions and negative behaviors that are keeping you from having that truth and reality in your life. You see, God wants for you better than you can even imagine, and by not moving towards God and relieving all those different obstacles, you're stopping the light of God from happening, and it becomes suffering and misery in the third dimension. And we have duality, and that's where the suffering comes from. And the disease, because you are in insane situations, believing that that's what you're about and that's what you deserve, and it is a big lie. You now quit believing the lie. You people have had enough misery in your life, and you've had enough pain, and you've had enough illness. It's time to say, I choose a healthy way to live by letting God be in charge of my life as I turn it over to the will of God. You see, your fear comes from your will, and you change it to God's will. It's a very simple mind change to say, okay, God's will be done in my life today. So as you move out of the duality, there is moving into just seeing the good in situations. As I suggested earlier to someone, or I guess John suggested earlier to someone, to see the gift in something. There is always a gift hidden in the darkness, and to allow your hands to open up and see what's beyond the fear. What is really, the fear just stops you from the gift, and say, I'm going to go beyond this fear because what I know God has for me is so much better. So to be in God's will is actually the gift of a healthy feeling inside that sanity can return. And when you do that, there's a few things that still might be in the way. And one of the things in the song I wanted to share with you that churches and dogma perpetuate consistently. And I want to clarify something, that you do not bow before God. That is dogma. And it has been perpetuated in society for ages. You bow before the king, you bow before the government, you bow before the IRS. Whatever is out there you're supposed to bow before means you give away your power to it. And that's what keeps you in the darkness. That's what takes away your energy and the power that you truly have inside. You aren't powerless. You stand in the fullness and the oneness of God. And when you give it away, you're giving away your power, and you're keeping yourself a victim and insane. There's a story you might know called William Tell. And in the story of William Tell, he was to bow before the king. I believe it was Switzerland. And as the king rode by, William Tell refused to bow before the king. And the king was, of course, very upset and proceeded to declare a punishment which said, you will need to put an apple on your son's head and shoot an arrow through it, because this was the time and day they used bows and arrows for their defense. And so William Tell, being a wonderful marksman that he was able to put the apple on his son's head and split it right in the middle, and of course did not harm his son. He would not bow before anyone. You do not bow before anyone. You do stand tall in the love and the power of God, knowing that you do not bow and give away your power anymore. The subtleness can be, sometimes we are distracted with other things and give away our power, and it doesn't always have to be a king. Sometimes, if you remember in the Bible, when the people built a golden calf, and Moses didn't come down from the mountain when they expected him, and they bowed before a golden calf. There's lots of ways to give away your power. I presume that today you will know better. And if you choose by honoring somebody, that's different. But when you are ordered to bow, that is control, and they are over you, and you are giving away your power. So you no longer need to do that in any part of your life. Stand tall and know that you can be in charge of your life, and all those things around you will change. The last part that can be a problem for insanity is we are taught by society to judge. And at this point you might not be judging others as strongly as you used to judge. But I would like to explain how the brain works. When you are in denial about part of your soul still needing to be healed, you project it out to others. And you see it in them, and they are a mirror. And that mirror shoots back at you, and it says, oh, they're not doing this right. They should do it my way, and it'll be just fine. Well, you're ignoring the fact that that's really your soul. They're reflecting back to you that needed the love or the compassion or the concern or care that you might bestow on that person. And when you pass it out to others who receives it, not only do they receive it, it comes back to you. You attract it back to yourself. So you are healing yourself when you send love to others. May I suggest that you, in these days to come, whenever you see somebody that is not acting in a way that you think they should be doing, know that they are just that part of your soul that has still not been healed. You see, all the judgment that's been sent out through all these many years of your life, there's so much, and what it did was splinter your soul into pieces and smithereens. And the more you can bring those pieces into your awareness, don't project them on others, own it. Say, oh, this is something in my life that I still need to look at, and I still need to love within me, so my soul can come back into wholeness. So as you love yourself more and more without judging others, you are quitting judging yourself, and that love is the healing bond to bring your soul back together, and you then can become that one with God. So judgment is really important to identify and not to project out there any longer, but to see it for what it is, to say, oh, I need to love myself in that area a little bit more, and not be so harsh and take it so personal that this is just something I still need to handle. It's another lesson. You see, we don't judge today. We see it as a lesson. It's not good or bad. It's just something that still needs to be called unfinished business. And you're just finishing it up for ascension. And in finishing up this unfinished business, then you will be coming into sanity. Your consciousness will now connect with your soul. When your consciousness, when your perception was not connected with your soul, that's your insanity, and that's when you do these harmful things to others and yourself, such as illness and addictions. But as you come back into being one, unified, unity, you see, you become rational. The love inside can finally glow. People can see a glow around you. You can come into that light of God in you will now be dispelled to others. You now can love your neighbor as yourself. That is sane. That is sane thinking, to realize that anybody in pain or acting out, no matter how disastrous, is seeking love. And you need to send love and compassion to heal your soul so that you can heal too. And in doing this, your sanity is restored. And you are now the person that is that channel of God, helping those to restore their broken souls, their shattered souls. You have now become the God inside of you that you were designed and were created to be. So in doing this, you have come into the truth that you never left God. You played the game that you were separated from God. You don't need addictions. You don't need to bow before anyone, and you don't need judgment, because all of that was part of an illusion. It was a dream that became a nightmare. And the truth is, you have always been one with God. Claim it. Act as if this is true, because it is. The truth will set you free from your illnesses. The truth will set you free from your old beliefs. And you will rise out of the insanity into the ascension, which is what is happening in you right now as you sit in this room. And as you continue this process to be ready by the end of next year, you see it does take time, and we're giving you time for that emotions to leave you and to leave your consciousness, so your consciousness will finally come together with your soul and the oneness can occur and you can come home. You see, this is who you truly are. You've always been home. Now you get to act as if you've always been home, and you've always had the God within to help others and yourself. And that you have a whole spirit. The truth is, you have always been a whole spirit. You are a Holy Spirit. And when you glue all those shattered pieces of your soul together and become that whole person, I want you to practice each day to say that my whole spirit is in charge of the next 24 hours. Guess what, people? The insanity can't come back if your whole spirit is in charge and in care of your life. So you are wholly in God's will, wholly in the light of God. And if that's the only thing you are that day, what a wonderful place to be. That's home. And you're getting to practice that for the next year. That's your assignment, is to practice it. And then you are ready to surrender to God. And you don't do it by getting on your knees unless you choose to, because you have a choice. You don't do it because you're less than. You can stand tall and be of great service in God's love and light to all that you are and all that surrounds you. And you surrender to the will of God. That's home. That's your soul and your perception moving into Christ consciousness. That's the fifth dimension. And as you move into Christ consciousness, that's just graduation time. Then you will move into 6th, 7th, 8th, and higher dimensions. But for the next, starting in 2026, you will be in the 1,000 years of peace. And you are preparing yourself for that, for the peace within that surpasses all understanding. Move your consciousness as high as you possibly can. That is all as high as it can go until you move into the oneness, which there is no consciousness, it just is. And other higher dimensions follow that. So right now you are at a most remarkable place in history. I commend you for coming this far. You all have little bits and pieces of dark energy to finally heal. This was to give you some information for that. Take what you want, leave the rest. Knowing what you have accomplished is very, very valuable and very important for your growth. Your spiritual growth in this room is exceptional, and I want to commend all of you that you have stayed on the path and been so persevering. I want you to know and experience this feeling of fifth dimension, and so we have asked Archangel Ariel to come in today and help you to experience what it's like to be home. So we would like you to give us just a minute while we change voices, and thank you for coming.
Saint Germaine,
Yes.
would you check with Martha? Marilyn asked me to advise when it's been an hour, and it has been an hour.
Thank you for asking. This is important, so we would like to continue. Thank you for giving us a check out, though. And as you sit there today, okay, take a big breath in and relax. Good afternoon, I am Ariel.
Welcome.
And I am so glad to be here. I love to help people with their consciousness raising, and this is a way to bless yourself today, so thank you for being here. And you are going to give yourself a great gift, and I hope when you go home that you will be able to practice this, and as you move into ascension, know that this is your home. So I will begin. I would like you to take a big deep breath in and breathe in love. And breathe out that fear that you don't need anymore. And breathe in love again. And breathe out fear. This is the stem of so many wrong things. Now when you breathe in again, I want you to see the light in front of you. I want you to see the prana, the special energy of love that you're breathing in has little light particles in it, and pick and select only the purest prana and energy of oxygen, and breathe in those bright little spectacles of light and breathe it into your lungs. And breathe it out. And again, bring in the light, special energy of the prana with the light, little sparkly lights, bring it into your lungs. And let your lungs relax in that warm, wonderful energy. Just keep breathing normally. And breathe in again. Breathe in the sparkly light of that oxygen that is the purest prana you can have in front of you to breathe in. And this time breathe it up through your neck into your brain. And breathe in more sparkly light up through your neck and into your brain, and let your brain relax. Instead of being tight-fisted in your brain, open up your hand, open up your brain, and let your brain relax. And it's going to relax so much with this light, sparkly, warm prana and energy that it's just kind of sloped and nestled into the back of the brain. It's just kind of hanging out there instead of being tight. It's relaxed, like it's just kind of leaning up to the bones and the muscles, and it's relaxed in a relaxed state. And let that relaxation move from your brain down through your neck into your the brain stem. Releasing and relaxing the brain stem. where the neck and the brain connect. And let that warm, wonderful, pure energy move down into your spinal column. All the way down into your spinal column. Relaxing your spinal column. All that sparkly prana is coming in. The purest of energy you can breathe in. Very relaxing. Feel that relaxation go into all your nerves. Your nervous system is feeling the sparkly energy of the prana going through all your nerves. Relaxing your nerves. Relaxing your muscles. Take a big deep breath in and know that your whole body is relaxed. And now I want you to picture a lovely tree in front of you, a deciduous tree that is in the fall of its years. It has been a very wonderful tree as the leaves sprang out in spring and came into full foliage of the tree in the summer. And you now see it in its fall stages with the beautiful colors on this tree in front of you. And you look to the top of the tree and you see a leaf that has turned to yellow and it's ready to fall, and the breeze is softly blowing and it breaks off from the tree, and the breeze blows back and forth as it brings the leaf down to the ground, down to the ground, and drops on the ground. And your body is relaxed one more time. And you look back up at the tree and you see another leaf ready to drop to the ground. And the breeze is releasing it and it carrying it softly as it moves in the breeze, back and forth, lower and lower, falling down, down to the ground, to the base of the tree. And it stops there on the ground. And you are relaxed more. And we're going to look up at the top of the tree one more time. And we see another leaf still ready to come down, so the breeze is carrying it down to the ground, down as it's blowing, softly, easily, smoothly, gently, down to the ground, down, down, down. And it drops on the ground, and you are totally relaxed. You are so relaxed that you now see the inner light within you. The inner light which fills you from your heart, from your divine spark inside, has come alive. The divinity, the wholeness is filling up within you. The love is growing and expanding because God is love. And God expands and fills the void. And you are filled from head to foot, in all your arms and all your cells of your body, and all your organs. Everything is in the love and the light of God. And you feel this light move out through your physical body, from your etheric body. It fills your physical body. And it moves beyond your physical body, through the cells. And you have a halo around you. You are light. Your true being, you are light. This light is not only filling you, it's filling your home. It's filling your community. It's expanding. It's filling your state. It's filling your country. filling this hemisphere. It's filling and surrounding the globe of Earth. The light of Urantia is shining. And I want you to spend this time at home in the light of the truth of who you are. And I want you to practice this at home. The more you are in this light, the easier your ascension. The more it will dispel the darkness. This is your true essence and your true being. Do not deny it, and do not project your shortcomings on others, but shine this light and let it dispel as you come into the truth of who you are. You're a whole, wonderful God. Find the great reality inside of you and let it express in who you are. Your oneness, your consciousness is merged with your soul, and all you see is through the eyes of God. I need to leave you now, but I hope that as you come back and integrate into the daily routines that you have, you will remember this and practice it. This will be a valuable lesson to help you move more smoothly as you leave the old behind and move into the new you that you truly are. I bid you adieu and great blessings with this as you move forward in your ascension and as you come home. What a wonderful lesson to practice. It will make it easier. Have a wonderful life in your new home. God bless you all. Goodbye.
Goodbye,
God bless.
Ariel.
Thank you.
Well, I just want everybody to know how happy I am to help you all move through this as you did today. You guys took a huge step. Do you know what step you took? The step you took was into ascension, and I wish you well on your journey as you complete and finish moving into it. Have a great day, and Joel, I love you, and I'll see you again. Bye-bye. Toodaloo.
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 God
Bye,
bless.
Melissa.